The long days of heat finally subsided, bringing rain and a break from the heavy sun. Rehearsals began on day one, every afternoon at the Formosa. I began with a warm-up. I played some scales, then stopped. The sounds from the street were different than the days before, more chatter and shouts. I returned to the keys and tried a piece I wrote back in New York. My touch is foreboding. A particular gleaming review stated as much in the last issue of Metronome. A foreboding yet permissible Wallace caresses the keys with valiant musicianship. I smiled as I remembered the review. Not valiance nor foreboding has ever occupied my glide across the keys. Rather, a finely honed sense of rhythm and note, acquired only from hard work and hours of playing. My daydream stopped, interrupted again by the noise out on the street. I stood to look out the small window just off stage. Hundreds of people, some with rifles, some with signs, marched as they shouted. I began to feel uneasy and signaled my exit to the only other person in the club, Manny. "You're headed out then, Mr. Wallace?" Manny inquires. "Quick break," I answered, moving swiftly through the tables and chairs of the club, making my way out into the rain. The shouts were loud, the voices determined, so I ducked under an awning across the street until they passed. Continuing my walk, I saw the gallery in the distance on the corner. My curiosity about Havana had taken hold, since settling in at the club. In 2 months, I'd be back in New York, back in my own apartment, back to the familiar smells and noise of my city. In the meantime, Havana introduced herself slowly. Significantly smaller than New York, it had such a strange feel. On the one hand, it was decadence. On the other, it was brooding, anger, and desperation. My thoughts faded into the heavy rain and distant shouts of the marchers. Inside the gallery, it was cool and dry and smelled of cappuccino and paint. I immediately recognized my own record. It was being played loudly. Curious, I moved further inside and called out, "Hello? Are you open today?" No response or footsteps, just my record that continued spinning loudly. I decided to find out who was playing my music. Inside the large room where paint was splattered on walls and floors and even the drapes, I recognized the beauty, swaying to my songs. Marta turned when she saw me out of the corner of her eye. Her smile was breathtaking. We stared at each other for a while before I returned the smile. "You've got good taste in music," I joked. Her laugh was intoxicating as she blushed a little, embarrassed that the actual pianist from her record was standing in front of her. "What is this? I didn't know you were an artist." I turned down the record player and looked up, and all around, where many of Marta's paintings leaned against walls and on easels. Marta's demeanor suddenly shrunk as she stuttered in front of me. An odd turn, I thought, given her previous confidence at the Formosa when we met. At that point, we embarked on an awkward conversation as she saw me to the door again. Marta set down her brush and grabbed a rag to wipe her hands. "You missed a spot," I teased. I was stunned at this young woman and her paintings. She was beautiful. "Here." I grabbed another rag and wiped her cheek. Our eyes lingered in a locked gaze. We were both so lost in our own feelings, we didn't notice the other. When I became aware of my stare, I backed up and set down the rag. That's when I noticed it, a large bruise on the side of Marta's neck. Feeling my eyes, Marta became uneasy. Our smiles soon faded.